I came to the United States on a refugee visa from the Soviet Union in 1990 when I was just 7 years old. When people say we lived behind an iron curtain, they really mean an iron curtain. Not only was there no internet in 1990, but there was absolutely no information flow from the west to the east. We had no idea where we were going or what we would find when we got there. We might have as well been moving to the moon. I showed up to Camp JCC in Indianapolis with my lunch in a white plastic bag, a cucumber, a drumstick, and a hard-boiled egg, while everyone else pulled out their Lunchables. You know that scene in My Big Fat Greek Wedding where she comes to school with her moussaka and all the other little girls pull out their white peanut butter and jelly perfectly cut sandwiches? I was her. I was that girl. There was no YouTube to teach me how to wear my colorful scrunchies, and no matter how much I might have wanted one, a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper was just not in the cards. The local Jewish day school in Indianapolis gave free tuition to Soviet refugee children, so many of us went there. But Indiana is not very diverse. It's a really small school, and kids are mean. So for the 8 years that we were there, that I was there, it was the Russians and the Americans. We didn't hang out together, we didn't play together, and there were no intermingled sleepovers. All I wanted was just to stop being the weird kid and fit in. So I tried to wash the immigrant out of myself as quickly as possible. Luckily, my English lost its accent. My parents learned to buy Doritos and fruit roll-ups and order pizza. And by high school, I could fly under the radar pretty well. All my new friends in high school were American. All I wanted to be was as American as possible. And then, in college, I had the amazing opportunity to go on a 7-week service trip. We spent 4 weeks in Honduras working on a water system and 3 weeks in Kharkiv, Ukraine, tending to a cemetery in disrepair. Because thousands of Ukrainian Jews left the Soviet Union after it collapsed, or left Ukraine after the Soviet Union collapsed, there were not enough people left to tend to the cemeteries. We arrived to Kharkiv from Kiev by train late at night. In the morning, we woke up to a sunny, beautiful day, and the first thing I noticed were the poplar trees, and the birch trees, and the daisies on the side of the road. Even the pebbles looked familiar. I looked around at the Soviet-era buildings and the cars, and it hit me like a truck. I was home. The next 3 weeks would change my understanding of who I was fundamentally. I can't really explain it in words, but I was the only fluent Russian speaker in my group. And the deep bonds I formed with our Ukrainian Jewish peers cracked my heart open completely. Their incredible sincerity and their willingness to take me into their circle filled me with a deep nostalgia for the culture that we all shared. What's more, the streets of Kharkiv that I walked were the same streets my grandmother had walked when she was just 20 years old, studying in university just after the war. I sat on the same benches she sat on in Park Shevchenko. I even went to visit the old opera house, still standing, where she would skip meals to be able to afford the tickets to see the shows. Just being in Kharkiv, a place so deeply familiar because it was so similar to where I was born in Yekaterinburg, Russia, changed me completely. I no longer wanted to walk through the world as just an American. I had found the piece of myself I had worked so hard to erase. Today, I'm married to an immigrant. Today I'm married to an immigrant. I feel most at ease in immigrant places and spaces. I cherish being able to speak another language, and and being from a different country. But there was something else I learned in Ukraine in those 3 weeks. We would come to work in the cemetery every day, cutting down trees, wiping swastikas off, hauling debris and trash. And I realized something. Cemeteries are our roots. They are where our ancestors are buried. They are where our stories begin. I could not then, I cannot now, and I don't think I ever will be able to go back to where I was actually from in Yekaterinburg, Russia. I can never visit the graves of my ancestors. Forced migration took this away from me and severed my roots. Today, I still feel rootless, perhaps as many immigrants do. Thank you.